Hi there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nerdy Bacon. In this time, we're actually going to be doing a little bit of a taste test. We actually have multiple different types of coffee, one from Circle K and one from Starbucks. So, the other day, you were noticing that Circle K now has Nitro cold brew and cold brew coffee.
Yeah, some of the Starbucks in our area, I'll have the Nitro and the cold brew, and now some of our Circle Ks, which I don't know if everyone has those, but it's one of our convenience stores that have recently upped their game as far as coffee goes and are trying to compete more with the Starbucks thing. Now they have Nitro on tap that you can get yourself and just a cold brew on tap. So we thought we'd taste them and see if there's a very discernible difference or which one we like better.
Now, also want to note, not every Circle K has these. We stopped by about 4 different Circle Ks before we finally found one that had one. So just because you might have a Circle K near you does not necessarily mean that they're going to actually have the Nitro cold brew or the cold brew.
Yeah, so I think they're either not rolling it out to every store yet, so this is probably something that they're going to see how high the demand is and then slowly move it to other stores, because like we had to go to one that's more in downtown before we could find one with it, whereas the ones on the side of town that we live in, we did not find any of them. So we went to like 4 or 5 this morning, and then we had to go to one we knew had it that was further away.
Mm-hmm. All right, so should we start with the one I have in my hand? I think It's the cold brew from Circle K.
Yes, that is the cold brew from Circle K.
Overall, I really like it. It's a very smooth taste, as cold brew usually does. It doesn't have a discernible palate one way or the other. It has a nice coffee flavor. It's not necessarily one of these flavored coffees, but it's very nice smooth. It doesn't have as much of the bitterness that a lot of times some coffee lovers like. I kind of like it.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's not bad. It's definitely a smoother coffee than if you just had coffee and put it on ice. So, and it does taste more like a medium roast. It doesn't taste too dark. It doesn't taste too light. There's just a hint of bitterness.
Yeah.
But actually, it tastes better. I think after you've taken the drink and the taste is sort of settling in your mouth.
After it's sat there a little bit.
Yeah, it has a very nice smooth coffee taste that sort of lingers.
It does. It almost reminds me a lot some of the other cold brews that are kind of like pre-made that you can actually kind of make.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of get in the stores every once in a while.
Yeah, I would agree with like some of the good ones, like
some of the good ones.
Brand.
Yeah,
good,
exactly.
Stuff like that.
Which makes sense that they would kind of go more middle of the road instead of very much of, like, say, blonde or a dark roast or anything like that. All right.
So that's Starbucks cold brew he's trying now.
It has a very different taste, actually. For me, this has a much deeper, almost like more of a dark roast kind of cold brew. It has a much deeper, richer flavor. You still get that nice smooth flavor, but that first drink that I had a much deeper, richer flavor.
It's because this feels like it has been cold, set for at least 12 to 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
This one feels like maybe 12 hours at most.
At most.
And this one almost feels like a dark roast. So this one's darker. I would almost say it's funny because its aftertaste doesn't linger as much.
No, it doesn't.
So this one more, you get the flavor when you're actually just drinking it and the taste doesn't linger as much. But this one is more of a deeper caramely chocolatey thing.
Yeah.
So this one's actually a nicer drink. And that one has, it's not bad and it has a good aftertaste.
Yeah, it's still very good. It's still better than just getting a hot coffee, putting it on ice.
Yeah, this one's still not bad.
This one seems like they didn't let it sit, didn't cold brew nearly as long, or it just might be that it's a more of a medium roast, whereas this one, the Starbucks one, feels more like a darker roast that it actually sat there and actually brewed for a bit longer, maybe a full 24 hours instead of just the 12.
This one feels a lot richer. So if you like more of a deeper, richer, stronger coffee taste, but it's still very smooth, very drinkable. I don't really get any bitterness.
Not really.
Yeah, I don't really get any bitterness from it that I got a little from the other one. This one's almost like getting very, very similar to if you were getting an iced Americano ristretto.
Yes.
And but you like had maybe an extra shot or two added into it. But this one's very nice and smooth. So I like both of them, but this one I would say definitely goes to Starbucks for...
I would definitely say my vote would definitely be going to the Starbucks in this case here.
Yeah. And then our next one is the Nitro cold brew from Circle K. And you can see, and it's one that you dispense yourself. It has a little on tap thing, and you just pull the tap and it foams out and goes up.
So for those who don't know much about Nitro cold brew, it starts off as a regular cold brew, and I could be wrong in this, but usually it's actually injected with nitrogen in there, and it's supposed to make the coffee a bit creamier, typically.
I think it made it a little bit more bitter.
Really? Yeah, it made it a little bit bitter, but it also... I don't get any flavors really one way or the other. It's almost very bland to me. Yeah. It's still not bad, but I typically wouldn't, get too much of that.
Yeah. And also, one thing I wasn't sure about is I put ice in it when I was doing it, and the Starbucks one doesn't come with ice, so I hadn't paid attention to that before. So, since you dispense your own, if you're doing this at the Circle K, you don't have to put ice in it. It just, for some reason to me, seemed instinct that you just put ice in your iced beverage. So that may be affecting the taste of it a little bit.
It might be affecting it a little bit. The extra ice as it melts
or affecting its bubbliness or stuff. So
it could be.
So I could have altered the outcome from that a little bit. Yeah, this is kind of not a lot of taste going on. It's not bad. It's a little more bitter. If you're someone that likes to add flavors and creamers, which you can do yourself at
that might be really good. Adding in a flavor of creamer at that point, it'll really bring out the flavor of the flavor of the cream that you add in.
Yeah, and it might be something that you want to look into if you decide to go to Circle K and you're normally someone that puts creamer in, and you like to add, like, they have the vanilla, caramel, all that syrup, so you can doctor it up and play with it however you want. You may want to look into it and see if that's something you need to add to the cup before, so you don't mess with the foam too much.
Good point.
But I think this would be a perfectly okay drink, especially if you don't have anything else and stuff, or if you just aren't a Starbucks fan. It's not bad, and I think especially if you alternate it a little bit with some cream or something.
I think something like this one here might be really good as a base if you're going to be adding in any of those flavors or any of those creams.
Yeah.
It'll be a really nice starting point.
I agree. And then next is the Nitro cold brew.
Gonna take that first drink, get the shock.
I know. These always shock us no matter what. So.
Yeah, even the cold brew shocked me when I drank it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I want to use a straw. Okay, let's see. That's very smooth.
Now, one thing also to note is actually how we're drinking. I was just going to say how we're drinking it.
I just noticed that.
Now, the Starbucks, with their different types of lids, you actually drink it through the foam.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Okay, don't do that. Wow, that is really smooth.
It's like the bitterness is concentrated.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Okay. Don't drink the Circle K one through the foam.
No, do not do that. But the Starbucks one is very smooth. It's almost added this sweet little creamy taste to it.
Almost.
It's not quite like if you had like a whipped cream on it, but it's
No, it's
just,
not that level of
that
creamy. It's almost like a texture creamy instead of like a taste creamy.
It is nice.
That's really smooth and drinkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so keep in mind when we say creamy, I find it's more of a texture kind of creamy aspect to it than a taste creamy. I mean, you get a bit of the taste cream, but it's not like you added in half and half, or it's not like you added in whipped cream or anything like that. You're not going to get that level flavor to it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's something in the texture and the little bubbles and stuff.
But I think it's a lot of it in that foam that really...
Yeah, and the foam tastes much better here. This tastes kind of as if the foam was based off of like a day-old coffee made in your office coffee pot.
Yeah.
Using like Folgers or something, which I don't care for Folgers. I know a lot of people do, but it's not one that I prefer. So if you like Folgers, that may be your jam. But it's just kind of bitter. It's foamy and light and stuff, but it's got a very ick taste. This one is very smooth and creamy, and the cold brew underneath it is light.
It's a very nice light, still drink. Now the nice
bubbly.
The nice thing about this is that it still has that really light, smooth coffee flavor. So if you're one of those people that wants to add other things to it, it'll still be a great base. So much so that Starbucks, I've noticed, even now has a lot of other flavors that they add into it. They have like a Irish cream, Nitro cold brew.
But I think it's funny because mostly they tend to flavor just the foam.
I was just going to say that. They like to flavor the foam itself.
Yeah, because they have the Irish cream one. They have that caramel one you like.
Yeah, the sweet.
I think the sweet cream.
They have a sweet cream version.
Yeah, that's really good. It tastes kind of caramely. Mm-hmm. And they have a Cascara. So if you had any of the Cascara coffee, they have this Cascara sugar cold brew foam.
But Starbucks really seems to like to flavor the foam itself and not necessarily the actual coffee.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting way of doing it, since you drink most of it out of the top and through the foam.
Yeah, so if you want just a little hit of sweetness, kind of like having your dessert first, you can get one of those, especially the sweet cream one. And then the rest of the coffee is just the cold brew flavor. Or if you want the whole thing to be sweet, you would probably want to have them add in some cream to this and a little bit of the like caramel or whatever flavor or sweetener you want, if you want the whole thing to be sweet all the way through.
Exactly.
But this one's good. I think overall, I don't know if it's surprising or not, but
overall,
Starbucks is the better coffee.
Yeah, I have to give my vote to the Starbucks for both of them.
I would agree.
That said, I think that, especially since this is their first venture into that area as far as the cold brew and the Nitro cold brew, I got to give it a hand to Circle K. I mean, they're really stepping up. They're really trying.
Yeah. I like that they're trying on it, and they still have, all the ones in our area now also have the ones that when you do a hot coffee, it now grinds their own. They have little grind dispensers on the top, so whatever one you choose, it grinds and brews it right there. And that makes a really good cup of coffee. So I like that they're trying to step up their game and give you more options and better options than just where they used to have the coffee pot there. So it's always a fresh brewed cup, and you can even do those. We've done those as an iced coffee, which is pretty good too.
You can.
Those are very nice and sweet too. So these aren't bad. They're definitely not bad, especially for a convenience store attempt at it.
Do you remember what the price was compared to them? Otherwise, I'll look it up. I'll put it in the
I don't
video
remember
below.
exactly what it was. I think it was somewhere around maybe $2 each for them.
Okay.
Because I think my total came to somewhere between $4 and $5. And that was with the...
we got an extra soda.
We got one of the 79-cent sodas because they had a Mountain Dew Zero that we wanted to try. That's apparently an exclusive flavor to Circle K. So there was at least 79 cents of whatever from that. So I would say these were somewhere between $1.50 and $2 each for their medium size.
But that's also a big difference then, because if you continue to add a lot of the little extras to the Starbucks one, even those drinks can easily go up to $4 to $5.
Well, just as a
Depending on how many
comparison, we ordered these two, and I think they came to exactly $8.
Right.
So, and these are their tall size. So this is the smallest size you could order it in. Ours had, I think, grande as that, so we only had like 2 options.
Especially with the Nitro, you usually don't get the Venti option. The biggest you can get is a grande with the Nitro.
Yeah, so the difference is, you know, these 2 drinks, which are the tall size, came to, I think, $8. And the other 2, which are the medium, which are a larger size, you can see.
Yeah.
A larger size, along with the soda, came to about somewhere between $4 and $5. So these are definitely not a bad attempt, especially if you are someone that adds cream or anything into them. These are definitely not bad at all for the price.
Yeah, for the price, I really got to give Circle K a hand. They're able to bring that price down. It's a very affordable drink, and it's still really tasty. I prefer the Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks is smoother, but if you're, you know...
You're sometimes spending almost twice as much as well for something that you don't get as much.
Yeah, pretty much, because each of these were, I would say, if we average it out, 4-ish each, which is a lot for these. They are really good, so if you're more like a coffee snob, which sometimes we tend to be, and you just want a little bit of coffee that just tastes really good and you don't have to mess with it, I would say go for these. If you're someone that sometimes you're here like going, I just need a big cup of coffee and I'm going to put cream in it and I might put some sort of syrup, these are a perfectly good starting base.
Absolutely.
On it. And if you're someone that likes a little bit more bitter coffee that's not as strong, like my dad likes it. My dad likes a little bit weaker tasting coffee and a little bit more bitter.
So he might really
like something like this. So it all depends on what your coffee tastes are.
Exactly.
But Circle K, is not bad, and especially their pricing is not bad. They have Starbucks beat over that.
Absolutely.
So all in all, a very decent effort by them.
I'm really impressed.
Yeah. So. Well.
So if you've tried them, let us know what you think. See what your preference is. If you have other ones that you want us to try, let us know in the comments below.
So like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.